I drink mostly gin, mainly because that's what Cilly drinks. If you look at her Twitter, she will claim to be the first person to have ever discovered it. I am very partial to a Scottish gin, which is called a Caroon gin.
Oh, yeah. Love a Caroon.
Oh, goes down like water, doesn't it?
Yeah. Too easily.
I have to say, Brighton gin goes down quite well as well. That was what we had at Alfie Ordinary's Christmas special, and that was literally me done. First show was kind of okay, but clearly plastered. Second show was so drunk that when it came to the second half, Alfie was like, who's next? I just decided it was me. There was about 3 things before I was supposed to perform again. My name's Josh. I'm also known as Cilly Black as my drag persona. I started doing drag in 2014 because I had met Alfie Ordinary. He said, we're going to do this show, would you mind coming and teching for us? And they said to me, do you mind kind of like dressing up a little bit, kind of to keep it in keeping with the theme? So I kind of like turned up in this kind of like weird take on one of the party guests from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I was wearing like a basque with a tailcoat, and I think I put on some black lipstick, and that was about it. And so they decided they were going to do another one, and they said, well, do you want to come on board more full-time, and have you ever considered doing drag? And I was like, no. They were like, would you like to? I was like, yeah, it's fine. So starting drag for me, I think a lot of people have these narratives where they're kind of called to it. Someone just asked me one day if I wanted to do it, and I said yes. And it kind of snowballed from there, really, for me.
Sort of side question. When did you come out as being gay? Was that around the same time,
No.
or was that prior?
No, there was like... So it's quite funny, I kind of like came out twice, if you like. I kind of had 2 of those conversations with my family and my mum. I came out as gay when I was... I think I was 16. And I said, I should probably tell you because I've told Auntie Paula I'm gay. She went, sweetheart, we're not stupid.
Like you said to you, when he came out, it wasn't a surprise. We sort of knew. Oh my God, he was as gay as right from probably day one, obviously. But yeah, it wasn't a surprise at all when he came out.
And funnily enough, we actually had a conversation about this the other day, because she said she recalled it the other day over the phone as saying, no shit Sherlock. I said, no, that's not what you said. You went, sweetheart, we're not stupid. And it was everything I needed to hear. I didn't need a parade, I didn't need tears, I didn't need to be hugged, I just needed to hear, you're still who you were. And that's when I came out as gay, and then I didn't start doing drag until I was about 19. I suppose the reason that I carried on doing it was because I didn't have this place within my home city where I could be myself and I could understand what that was. Drag very quickly became that for me.
He struggled at school, he got a lot of stick at school for it. I'm so proud of him because he never let it get to him. He was brilliant, and he always stayed true to himself. And at that age must have been horrendous. He took a lot of bullying, a lot of stick at school. But yeah, he stayed true to himself, and I'm really, really proud of him for that. Something said to me, always be yourself. Might not always be easy, but always be yourself.
Coming from a generation where being gay was okay, but it kind of wasn't, very much on that cusp of the kind of the freedoms that younger people today have, and obviously nowhere near the persecution that generations that came to us before. I found myself in this kind of like little bubble, this little place where I didn't know, I knew who I was, but I didn't know what that was, if that makes sense. So one of the things which when I started doing drag, I started to realise this correlation between who I was as a gay man and this character that started to be born of this kind of like, this lonely older woman. These 2 things which wanted love, but no one was prepared, no one was around to give it to them.
I, for one, by myself, hate labels. I think you should just take the person on face value. People say if you don't like an untidy house, don't come to my house, take me as I am. We should do that with people. Don't label them. People are individuals, love them for the people that they are. And that's what we've all done with Josh. We knew Josh was big and loud and larger than life, and you have to embrace that because that is who he is. And that's how it should be for anybody.
I started doing drag with Alfie Ordinary and Cherry Liqueur. We were the Car Boot Cabaret, based here in Chichester, and this narrative kind of for Cilly kind of happened of this kind of like mad aunt who lived in the loft. And well, I sometimes refer to myself as a drag delusionist, because my drag very much focuses on the moment where drag fails, and therefore what happens to gender performance in that moment. I keep talking about this, the idea that she's this deluded character, and she's not. She's so together because she's a clown. And when I say that she's a clown, I don't mean in the way that they talk about the makeup. I'm talking about a true, like if you talk about these characters who bring comedy through tragedy. Clown's humour is incredibly intelligent. It's based on real thinking of a situation and a climate, a political climate, a socio-political climate. It's responsive. And that's what Cilly does. She kind of like is this idiot that you love to laugh at, but actually she's telling you something really important. And it's what Shakespeare did in his plays. You would have this really tragic moment and then he'd bring in the clowns. The fool in Shakespeare is the one which talks most sense. You look at something like King Lear, the only person which talks any truth throughout that show is the fool. And her style is very that. It should be bizarre. And she should be bizarre, because it's bizarre that we think that people like that aren't beautiful, and that's really important.
First time I saw him in drag was in the Havana in Chichester. He was doing a Car Boot Cabaret, and I just, oh my god, that's Josh. It's amazing. But he looked so at home. He looked like he found his place. Looked so comfortable, and yeah, I really loved the session that he did there. It was brilliant.
Drag superstar RuPaul came under fire last year about allowing transgender contestants on the hit show RuPaul's Drag Race. Ru said she would probably not allow a transitioning transgender woman to compete on the reality competition series.
It's really, really, really damaging that somebody with so much sway can turn around and go, trans people don't belong on my show. The validity of AFAB performers is constantly brought into question because of Drag Race. I personally respect what RuPaul has done for the community. Huge, huge thing. I also kind of feel like you've done some real good, you've plateaued, and now from here on in it's just damage. Not everybody has to be a carbon copy of the thing that we see on telly. And we need to stop using what we see on television. Although we adore it, we love it, we have a good time watching it, and it has a space and it gives us this platform, but it should not be a how-to guide, because it isn't. And that's something that I find very hard. I find it really, really hard to see sorrow of people that I love around me, because people haven't caught up with them yet, which is so sad. Because why do I get to live in a time where it's okay for me to do what I do, but it's not okay for them to do what they do? That's heartbreaking. It's bullshit. It's, quite frankly, it makes me really angry. And I've been remiss in the past telling around, well, but this is what he meant. No, it was transphobic. Don't do it. Retract and let people on your show. That's the only saving grace at this point. Ru, if you're watching, stop believing your own hype, babe. And let some drag kings and some trans queens and a lovely array of people on. Doesn't matter if they've got boobs or a vagina. If they're a good performer, they'll win your show. So let me take you through a few bits and pieces. This is a very fishy look. I hate myself. So this is the velour tear awake tracksuit. This is just stunning. Sort of like a staple Cilly is like a glitter dress. And this is gorgeous as well. Sort of the gorgeous lace detailing coming up and invading the white. Beautiful.
My advice to any parents that their child's trying to come out to them is just help, listen, definitely listen, And don't try and change them, because that is them and that's the way they are and that's how they should be. They should be the person they want to be. But yeah, just love your kids for the people that they are, because that's the most important thing. And support them in whatever they want to do. But the best memory of Josh, I don't know, every day, this is going to sound really corny, every day with Josh is a wonderful memory. And just watching him perform, and when he's in drag and when he's silly, he's just so happy. And he just comes alive, and I love that about him. It just allows him to be who he wants to be. And that's all you can ask for your kids, is for them to be happy and to be who they want to be.